All right, what's up, YouTube? Today we're gonna do a walk and talk. As you can see, we are at a nice, relaxing park. This is an equestrian park. It's where they ride horses around through there. Pretty cool little park. Got lots of little cabins over there you can rent. There's some stables. Yeah, so what we're gonna do today, man, is talk about the Great Reset, right? There's a Great Reset that's coming. People tired of working in the workplace. People tired of, you know, all the bills. And, there's a story about somebody I know personally who, master's degree. They got a good job, and the economy is just, they remember they was able to put up a whole paycheck. Every month they was able to put up at least one paycheck. And that's just not happening no more, right? The economy has just got tighter and tighter, folks. Like, that's what it is, man. Paychecks is getting smaller, even though they're the same size, and actually inching up just a little bit. They inching up just a little bit. But the economy's going up so high that inching up just a little bit don't even matter. So on this channel, we like to stack precious metals. We like to do things like that, but, tiny house living. And, that was a craze, right? So we talking about the Great Reset. People that don't want to really be invested into the matrix, right? People don't want to be invested into the matrix. Hold on, I think we might go this way. Then go around. Yeah, people don't want to be invested into the matrix, right? We need a sense of community. We need our own land. We need these things in order to be successful, right? Because if not, you squeezed at every angle. The society squeezes us at every angle, man. So finding your why is really gonna be important. As you can see, we just kind of going through these trails. We got a bunch of trails. There's a walking park over there. But yeah, just a beautiful area to walk in, man. Being healthy, trying to stay healthy. All right, yeah, we was passing some people, man, and they had some music playing. But yeah, man, so what does it take, man? What does it take to reset, right? People just like, man, I ain't with it no more. I ain't with it no more. People understand that. You look at your next generation and you see that they barely was able to hold on to anything they could hold on to if they had anything to hold on to. I grew up in LA, and man, you talking about being able to see the next generation struggle coming from that slave background. My great grandmama moved to LA from Texas, during that great migration period. And had all her first children. I think she had 7. Had them all in LA. She had a little in-home daycare. My great grandmama was a maid in Beverly Hills. She ended up getting a job at the Los Angeles County Retirement and worked her whole life and still couldn't pay off her house. We lived on 69th Street. between Budlong and Kansas. And yeah, it was tough. You know, it was one white lady on the street. Her name was Miss Margie. She used to give everybody lemons, and she had loquats and kumquats, pomegranates, lemons. She had a lot of stuff in her yard. But my grandmama used to always send me over there to take her plates, you know, food. And I couldn't understand for the life of me why we was taking this lady who was supposed to be the white lady food, you know? And so couldn't find out, you know, one day I asked my grandma, I was like, why are we taking this lady food? You know, because I grew up in the household of Black Panthers and that type of thing. My uncle was Big Steve Bartholomew, who got unalived by the LAPD in August of '68. He got unalived on Adams and Bronson. My great grandmama stayed right up the street on 11th Avenue. Yeah, man, and it was just, you know, around the corner from Johnny's pastrami stand. So, you know, growing up in that era, in the 70s, we had a real strong Black Panther, I guess I would say, background or history. So, you know, we knew who our adversaries were before, you know, we started unaliving each other with this gang violence and things like that. So yeah, back to the story. Sorry, y'all. You know, I'll be all over the place. So it was like, why are we giving this lady food? Why are we taking her food? You know what I'm saying? Like, she's just part of the system. Like, shouldn't she be giving us food? And my grandmama was like, yeah, she retired. She owned her house. So I was like, but we don't own ours. Why, you know, so why are we giving this lady food? I just couldn't understand it. And so what happened was, you know, Miss Margie had tried to go get some food stamps. Her pension wasn't enough. Her retirement wasn't enough. And she had worked for the LA County too. But her retirement wasn't enough to afford food and different things like that. So Margie was buying cat food and eating cat. She had a bunch of cats. So she was eating cat food, and people was taking her plates or whatever it was. And so I heard Miss Margie and my grandmama sitting on the porch one day, and they was talking. And she said, my grandma was talking about, well, why don't you go try to apply for some food stamps or something? And she was like, well, you know, they want me to sell my house. And she was like, but, you know, I worked all these years, you know, as a single mom to have something to pass down to my kids. But her kids wasn't bringing her no food, right? So she worked all her life to pass this house down that's paid for down to her kids. She can't even get no food stamps because the county's like, well, you got to sell your house, you know, and give us the money, and then we'll take care of you pretty much till you die. Like, it's a whole game, man. It's the 52 fake plate, man. That's the Matrix for real. So she wouldn't do it. Her little car was beat up. Little neighborhood backyard mechanics would come through. She'd pay them some bags of lemons and different things and a little few dollars that she could to keep her car running, just so she can get back and forth to the store. But she ended up, the car broke down. She ended up having them little carry baskets, you know, that the old folks have. The little, you pull it up, you know, stand it up, and you walk with it. And she have her little groceries. She used to go to Ralph before it was Super Buy, right there on Florence and Vermont. And man, she used to would go to Ralph's, man, right there by the Winchell's Donut Shop, man, and do her little groceries and pay us. Me and my homie Twan, you know, rest in peace, Burger, A-Tray Gangster. My homie Twan, we'd come back and we'd be, you know, she'd give us $1 to push her little grocery cart back to the house. But the point is that she worked her whole life, bought a house, and the only thing she owned was a house. She couldn't even afford to eat. This is the system that we are, that we're connected in, y'all. You know, and it's a shame, man. And this is why I'm talking about this. So there's a whole tiny movement now talking about, you know, tiny houses and RVs and all that. And I think that's a real valid move, right? But the way the system is, the way car insurance is, the way all these things are that you got to have, the tiny house insurance, the RV insurance, you know, these things is high. These things is costing, you know, quite a good chunk, you know, close to $500, $600 a month just for one car, just insurance on the car and just insurance on, your tiny house or whatever, it's $600-700 a month. You know, when you start making a certain tax bracket just right above poverty level, you know, right above the food stamp level or the Medicaid level, right? You get into that paid plan, you know, they want $700, you know, $400 to $700-800 a month just for medical insurance. This is when I was getting into the story where a partner of mine, you know, somebody I know, you know, type 2 diabetic, couldn't really afford all their medications. The doctor prescribed them 2 medications they need that would really help them. You know, she said, the doctor said that they was at a dangerous level of triglycerides. And I've been there before too, right? And so, but it was 2 medications they need. And the medications had started off when they first started going to the pharmacy was $25. Then it was $56. Then it was $75 a piece. So it's an extra $150 just for 2 medications. That's for something like diabetes that they really need or they could die, right? So you can see that the system is set it up to where it's like, okay, you can die. We can make money off of that. Put you in the ground, take whatever you got. You know, the burial. So the burial people make the money, then they pay taxes to the government, right? The insurance companies, they pay out. Most people, you know, pay off, I think it's a 40% inheritance tax. So, you know, anything you got, and then if you miss a payment at the end after the person dies or right before they die, then boom, it gets knocked down from, I've seen it happen from like $100,000 down to like $5,000, right? So everything, every which way, right? And so it's like, you can't afford the medications. Like Miss Margie couldn't afford her food, right? And she ended up dying. I can't remember how she died. But like, if you can't afford your medications because you got a type 2 diabetes or something that can actually kill you, if you can't afford the medications, we gonna unalive you. It's kind of like what the system does strategically, right? So, you know, you just got to think about these things. Like, what's gonna happen when, you know, us folks that are in the 40s, 50s, and 60s are tired of working, right? So what happens when the 35s are tired of working? The 5 days a week and 2 days off. That's not a real amount to reset when you on a occupational slave ship, right? So when you're thinking about these things, you got to think about, like, what's my freedom plan, right? What's the freedom plan? Is it a tiny house? Is it an RV? Is it something that you can afford, right? Because the American scheme of you know, having 3-car garage and a 3-bedroom house, 2 baths and all that, man, that's out of reach. I mean, you can reach it, you can get it, but you'll be in debt. You'll be living above your means. You'll be like Margie. You're gonna die. You're gonna get to retirement age, be in retirement. They took the pensions away, so there ain't no pensions no more, right? They don't care about you getting older. They don't care about you getting sick. Look at the food that they feeding us, right? The food in the grocery stores is set to kill us, right? If you're not getting it from the ground, from the tree, from the earth, and you getting it in a box, jar, can, anything like that besides your own canned goods, you are being unalived. You are being unalived, you know, slowly but surely being unalived, and you'll be on medications. Now, when you get to the point to where you're at the grocery store and you're like, damn, can I buy food or should I get these medications? That's when you're making life decisions, right? Not at gas for my car, or, man, the hell with the car, you can't even live. If you don't take your medications, you can't live to even eat no damn food. So you gotta have the medications, and but the food is making you need the medications. The system is dependent on each other, right? Yeah, so real quick, man, just a quick video. I just wanted to ask everybody, like, what are you doing for the Great Reset? What are you doing for the Great Exhaustion, where the people are getting tired of being tired, man? What are you doing to make sure that, hold on, let me pull this down. What are you doing to make sure that, you know, your next generation gonna be better than the way you was in this generation, right? What are you doing? My bad, y'all, hold on one second. Right, what are you doing to make sure that your next generation is set up to be a better generation than before you, or you yourself, right? You got to think about these things, man. Always, you know, keep you a strap, you know, if you can. Those of you that are of a minority race and the system has been, you know, set up against you, you know, see if you can restore your firearm rights. You know, I had to restore mine after doing over a decade in prison. You know, that's what it's about. I ended up going to get work on a doctorate degree, associates in human services. My bachelor's was in interdisciplinary studies. I had a minor in information technology, administrative management, another minor in business management, organizational development. So from the business sense, I got great business sense. My master's degree is in forensic psychology, mental health law, and then my doctorate degree. I got two half a doctorates, one in forensic psychology, one in marriage and family therapy. I'm probably about to switch to one in organizational development. Certified in herbal medicine by the University of Minnesota online. Certified in nutrition for optimal mental health through the National Academy of Sports Medicine, certified. And just doing the work. So, making good money, but it's still paycheck to paycheck. And that's the thing that a lot of people struggle with. People that, and I make good money. I make over six figures a year. And it's still a struggle, and I got the bare necessities. I could buy things that I want. Sometimes it's a struggle. But I'm not into things no more. I used to have lowriders and Escalades and big wheels and big music and all that type of stuff. But that stuff don't move me. Once you had it, it ain't nothing. I'm happy with just the bare necessities. I don't need all that, So prioritizing your priorities, man. What's important in life for you? What can you do to make your life better? My boy back there. Two big, bright, light-skinned Negroes. Yeah, and mixed with no white, too, so don't get it twisted. Yeah, ain't no Weezite around here. But, that's for my Negroes, because they always question the light-skinned cats. Like we less than them, and that's another thing, right? Our culture is so beat up and destroyed to where we don't even like each other, knowing that black people spit out every shade there is, So yeah, just talking about these things, walking and talk. It's a walk and talk. We're on a trail. Your boy was 325. I'm down to 269. I've been putting in this work, doing a little kettlebell workouts every morning before work. I work 3 days a week, make over six figures a year for a job. And then I got my own private practice that I work with on Mondays and Fridays. Work on some other stuff. We got a herbal business on the side, making tinctures and oxymels and honey infusions and things like that. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, man, just make sure that you guys, try to figure out what you're gonna do for the Great Reset. How you gonna let things work out for you? Is it gonna always be a struggle? You gonna always struggle with your finances? Do you gotta have that big house? Stop having all these damn kids that you can't afford to pay for, man. Now I'm talking to the men, like, don't put your penis in that woman if you can't afford to pay for that kid. You had a kid and you leave these women to try to take care of these kids, and then guess what they're gonna do? Put your ass on child support. And then what? The system's more in your business. They taking your driver's license. They sending you to jail. They putting liens on your vehicles, on your cars. You can't even sell your cars. You can't get no money. You can't liquidate nothing. They like, no, if you're going to liquidate something, we're going to squeeze it out of you. You're going to liquidate it to us. The system is rigged, y'all. We knew this coming up out of slavery. These stories have been passed down to us. We know the system's not for us. But it's working. It's working. It's doing what it's meant to do. And that's to not work for us. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to work for us. Shit. System ain't going to work for us, man. It's a beautiful day, man. We just out here walking, man, just doing our thing. Niggas smiling, trying not to. Anyway, we just out here walking, man. It's a little walk and talk. Shout out to all my preppers out there. You know, Noah was a prepper. I know somebody gonna look at this like, oh, you know, we ain't supposed. Somebody got something to say about everything, man. Chew pebbles, man, and kick rocks, man. Somebody always got something negative to say about something somebody else doing. You just mad because you ain't doing it. We got firearms, man, AR-15s, AK-47s, man, long distance rifles, man, Ruger precision rifles, man. We got rifles that'll shoot out 2,000 yards, man. A mile is 17.6 football fields, man. We got rifles that'll shoot double that. Beautiful day, man. Look at that. See that sun, man? Back here, you see all that? It's beautiful. Yeah, we just trying to get some steps in. That's it. Just wanted to talk, man, with my higher intellect people. I used to make these videos from the animalistic standpoint, the guttural anger and things I felt. But it ain't about that. That's that lower vibration. Look at these stables. It's a beautiful place, man. See, a little pen over here. See, growing up in LA, for me, it was just like inner city bricks and blocks. Can we even go through there? It was like a maze. Now I'm out here in Washington State, and it's a beautiful thing. I couldn't find beauty in LA. I couldn't find it. It didn't exist for me. I mean, it was fun, you know, but I mean, prison was fun too. For those of us that can make it, you know. So this video ain't gonna be for every crowd, you know, because I'm talking about prison and gangs and tiny living, reset. You know, people don't want to reset. They invested into this society. Yeah, I mean, I got small investments in things too, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about into the mindset of this society. You know, the Bible says live in the world, but don't be of the world, right? So you got to find your why in this earth. As a mental health therapist, man, I try to help my clients every day on a daily basis find the best version of themselves. Like, what does it take to get there? You just gonna sit on your ass and play the game all day? Nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. So you gotta get up and get motivated. Even if you know you ain't got no car, get on the internet. All the knowledge and the information of this world is right at your fingertips. Why you don't know something? Get certified. There's free certifications. Stafford University got some certifications that is free. Yeah, it's a lot of little free certifications you can put on your resume. You can learn computer science. Oh yeah, that's the little track that they buck the horses on. Got the little bleachers over there. See all that over there? It's pretty cool. Yeah, you know, so y'all know I got a couple channels. My gun channel is Bangers and Bullets. And we ain't talking about gang banging, we talking about guns as bangers. Right? And it's all for self-defense and prepping. It ain't for, you know, we got the biggest squad to go take over something and da-da-da. But if shit happens, SHTF, we got spots in the mountains where we going. And we bringing our crate of guns and these ammo cases, and you know, we stay heated. We always too deep. Huh? Look, we always too deep with heat. But me and my son, we got a little. I look at him, I be like, oh, wait. I look at him, I be like, you heated and completed? He be like, yeah. It's a little cocky walk. Look at them fringes too. He got them fringes on. All praises to the Most High. All praises to Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah, we not living in the world. We just own it. We own the earth, man. Living the best we can to support the Most High. We got a connection with our divine power. We understand who we are according to the Bible. And we just living our life. We just living our life. We ain't involved with the riffraff. As soon as we get around people and we see their vibration is low, they got a low vibration, we spit that good godly game, tell them who they are, and keep it moving. We get on up out of there. We're in a higher elevation, man, higher plane, and that's what the Most High do for you. Yeah, so, you know, staying ready, staying healthy, getting these paces in. Look, some more beautifulness. Yeah, you know, staying healthy, getting these paces in, so when something happens, you got the energy and the oxygen to be able to make it, to walk. You might have to park the car and walk. The car might get stuck in traffic. You might have to get out and walk. Probably need to invest into some electric bikes. We got solar panels and RVs and all that type of stuff. We had a grid go down not too long ago. No phones, no internet, no nothing. Big storm, power was out for a couple days. Shit, we was good. We got propane heat, gas stove for cooking, solar panels, power stations, big batteries. At that point, it was good. Nothing to worry about. We go for days and days on end without being connected to the grid. Something like this, you're going to get some power. Yeah, so just, you know, be prepared for the reset, man. Try to figure out what's your plan, what's your why. What are you doing to be ready? The famous words is sugar free. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Peace.